1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All
one of resistance.
we are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome back to Star Wars Reactions. We are so excited you decided to join us, and we are excited to be back. And we got a fantastic show for you as we continue our profile series this week. And we're just going to have a great time. So let's get the party started. My name is Aaron Harris, and joining me, he's the Cody to my Rex, the David Modders. David, what's up, brother?
Hey, my brother. As always, I'm ready to react. I'm thankful to be back on recording with you. And obviously, last time we had a great one with Greg McLaughlin, a chat with him, and that was a ton of fun. I love these profiles that we do. And I'm ready to record and react. And it's like you said, it's going to be fun covering this particular character.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. Of course, before we do that, of course, I do want to give everybody just a little bit of an update. I know in the last episode we mentioned I mentioned issues I was having with my vision, and which is why our social media has been quiet as of lately. I did make it to the doctor and got everything checked out. Everything is fine. My prescription has changed, so I'm having to I've gotten them updated contacts already. I'm getting updated glasses, and I'm looking to have everything. And once I get those, we will be, I'm actually looking at getting our social media stuff going again really soon. So be on the lookout for that. But I know a couple of people have reached out to me, and I appreciate your thoughts and prayers and well wishes. It's been felt, and I appreciate it. So I wanted to say thank you and let y'all know what was going on. So, and of course, because of that, that has also kept me from, gathering all the news over the last few episodes, because normally we could talk about all the latest news and stuff, and being able to look back now without getting a headache at everything I've missed in the past several weeks. We've missed a lot of news, my friend.
Oh, no question. No, it's a lot. There's been a lot of news about Star Wars Celebration coming up, and the guests and panels and stuff happening. They announced Ewan McGregor is coming, which is awesome. Mark Hamill put out there, unfortunately, he's not going to make it. And then just all the names that are starting to filter out now that are coming to Celebration and who isn't coming or couldn't be there. It's really starting to pan out to look like a fun celebration. So if you're getting to go, we are jealous of you, and wish you the best time. We wish we could be there, but we'll be there in spirit and via the online stream. Oh, definitely. I've done that before. We did it for Celebration Chicago. I watched all the big panels, and I really felt like I really saw a ton, and did it from the comfort of my home. But I felt very up to date in 2019, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's how I did the Celebration at Chicago, and the last Celebration they had in Anaheim. Was watching the panels online, so I will be watching them again from the comfort of the Star Wars Reaction Studio, and enjoying them as I probably work. So
yeah, me too. Yeah.
It'll be fun. But the one thing I did want to mention that just really jumped out at me when I was looking over these list of panels and stuff that are listed on the schedule
is a panel that was announced for Saturday, the 28th of May. This one will be from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. on the celebration stage, and it's actually being streamed to the Galaxy and Twin Sun stages.
Ooh.
So it's a pretty big panel.
Ooh.
This one is going to be hosted by Amy Ratcliffe with special guest Dave Filoni.
Oh, nice.
And this will be introducing the new animated anthology shorts, Tales of the Jedi.
Ooh. You know, I heard Dan Z talking about that in the most recent Coffee with Kenobi that released today, April 28th. He's like, wait, what? You know, he's like, that's kind of, is that under the radar or is that not? You know,
it has flown quietly under the radar. It is a name that I do believe like 2 years ago was announced when they did that big December 10th, Disney did the big December 10th, what's coming stuff when they first announced Rangers of the New Republic and all that stuff, which of course has been canceled, and Rogue Squadron and all. They announced all these upcoming projects that was mentioned in there, but nothing was ever said about what it was. The title was just given. Then nobody talked about it. Then the name resurfaced at Christmas time when Lucasfilm employees got Lucasfilm people got some Christmas gifts, and on the side of their Christmas goodie box, whatever, it had the logo for the new Indiana Jones movie, a couple other things they had coming, and it had Tales of the Jedi on there as well.
Nice.
So that's we saw the name again there, but then it just kind of fell off the radar again. Now we knew something animated was coming because Kevin Kiner said in an interview recently that he was working on composing music for a new animated Star Wars.
Yeah, and you remember, and he got permission to use a full orchestra.
Yes. So I'm assuming that this is what we are talking about.
Me too.
Because you know it's right there. So we're going to see what happens. I'm looking forward to. Hopefully they stream this one online as well, since they're streaming it to the other rooms. I'm hoping they stream that one online as well.
Fingers crossed, my friend.
Fingers crossed. We'll see. So, but if you do, or if you are going to Celebration, let me know what that. And you do attend that panel.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yes.
Let us know. we will need to sit down and chat about what to expect. Yeah. So, but that really jumped out at me, and I'm really looking forward to seeking that.
Cool. That's cool, man.
Perfect. And of course, like I said, so much other news. I'm not even going to attempt to try to get into it all, cover it all, because there's just so much. I mean, this Carabast, the Skywalker Saga Lego game finally released, and amongst other things, and they re-released Force Unleashed on Switch. So I mean, there's just a whole lot of stuff happening, and just too much for us to try to catch up on. So we will be starting with a clean slate going forward, and as new news comes out, we will bring it to you with each episode. So,
well, can I just put a teaser? We don't do this a whole lot, but just a teaser for next month. We have a special guest that we're going to have for our A Chat With series. So I just wanted to, encourage people to make sure they're listening for that. Is that cool, brother?
That's cool, my friend.
All right.
That is cool. Yes. Our reaction chats are so much fun. I love those. So, yeah, we got a lot of great stuff happening. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. But so is our topic tonight. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is a continuation of our profile series. We have done several of these episodes already where we take a look at a secondary actor, or not actor, but character from the Star Wars saga. We're not looking at the primary ones, Luke or Leia or Han or Vader or some of these upfront characters, primary characters. We're looking at secondary characters who definitely had an impact on the story themselves. And we're discussing their impact, how we feel about them, and just giving you a little bit more about that character to grow your knowledge and just teach you something, maybe learn something new. And I know I learned something new about this character that we're going to be discussing as I did some research on him. And it's going to be great. So are you ready to jump into our profile, David?
We're ready, man.
We are doing the profile of Alexsandr Kallus, a.k.a. Agent Kallus, a.k.a. Hot Kallus, as he was lovingly became at the end of Rebels. That's right, Alexsandr Kallus. He was, just to give you a little biography on this character, he was a very successful agent of the Imperial Security Bureau before later becoming a member of the Rebel Alliance. As a member of the ISB, he rose through the ranks aggressively, becoming one of Colonel Yularen's top agents. He led troops, Imperial troops, in the occupation of Onderon, fighting against the rebels led by Saul Guerrero. He led the Imperial destruction of the planet Lasat, Borelios' home planet. He teamed up with IG-88 and hunted Han Solo. And he hunted, of course, the specters of Lothal. But it wasn't until the unusual partnership between him and the Lasat Zeborelios, while they were both stranded on Geonosis, that he began to reevaluate his beliefs. He realized that there was still good in the universe, and he wasn't fighting for it. It wasn't what he thought it was. So he had a change of heart, and he became a fulcrum agent for the rebellion, sending information while still serving the Empire under Grand Admiral Thrawn. It was Thrawn who exposed Kallus during the Battle of Atollon, and it was there he made his escape and earned the name Hot Kallus. He joined the rebels there on Yavin Base, where he participated in several missions, including the attempted theft of the TIE Defender and, of course, the famous liberation of Lothal. Following the liberation of Lothal, Kallus continued as a fulcrum agent. He ran several missions throughout the rest of the war. Ultimately, when the Empire fell, he retired and went with Zeb to Lyrasan, where Zeb showed him he did not destroy the Lasat as he thought he had done. He saw a thriving civilization there. And it was there that the Lasat forgave Kallus and welcomed him in as one of their own. David, let's kick off the discussion with you, my friend. What are your overall thoughts on Agent Kallus, Alexsandr Kallus, Hot Kallus, however you want to call him?
Sure thing. As with the other profiles, we've done on secondary characters, Kallus ends up being a real pivotal character, a fulcrum, if you will. See what I did there? That's a badoop boom. That's a rim shot right there. I know it's already a bad dad joke. We're just starting.
Stealing my gig, dude.
I know. I've got Psychology Corner coming up, so I'll back up. But he does. He's this pivotal character in not only helping the Ghost Crew, but eventually the larger, rebellion. We see that in season 4, episode 3. I was watching that the other day, in The Name of the Rebellion, part 1, where he develops that key plan to take over an information relay station. I was just going to briefly talk, if we want, I thought about it. I didn't know if we were going to talk about Hot Kallus a whole lot, but I'm, I don't know if our listeners know, but I am bald. So when I saw Hot Kallus, I have to talk about Hot Kallus. I saw his hair and I'm like, man, I'd like to have that hair, that just a little bit of that hair. So when they did that, it was so fun. It was such a fun talking point. And wasn't that the hashtag for quite a while, hashtag Hot Kallus? And so that was pretty fun. So that was a really kind of fun little twist on the character as we got into season 4 and stuff like that. So very enjoyable character. Got a lot more to talk about, but those are just some of my initial thoughts about him being a pretty key character in the rebellion.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Yes. And I feel you when it comes to the hair part. Look at him and I'm like, give me a head with hair, long, beautiful hair. Because mine is retreated and never came back. So happens to the best of us, my friend.
It does, buddy.
Kallus, I got to say, Kallus is actually one of my favorite characters from Rebels. He was the perfect foil for the Ghost Crew when he was a member of the ISB. He displayed wisdom through his cold, calculated plans, which always kept him right on the heels of the heroes. Then, of course, once he flipped and joined the rebellion, he put that knowledge to good use. And like you mentioned, the plans to take over the relay station. It just, worked out in his favor, doing what is right and from trying to make up for the atrocities he felt he committed. So his to me, and I've said this during Rebels when we were discussing some of our Rebels remembered episodes, and I even back when we did Rebels reactions, I even said it too. When we were closing out that series, his story to me was probably one of the best character growth arcs throughout the series. I loved how they developed this character from meeting him in the first episode and you just absolutely despised him, did not like him. He was just all arrogant and just and to watch his journey throughout the series and seeing that flip that he makes after the honorable ones, it just really, I love it. It really gets me. I love it. It's definitely he's definitely exhibited. I would say, we see growth from Kanan, we see growth from Ezra, but they're primary characters. We expect to see that type of growth, but you don't expect to see growth from a secondary character like you do, like we see with Kallus, and that's why I absolutely love the character.
Yeah, well said. I agree with you on that. Yeah, the character development for him. In fact, the other night, Aaron, I was watching The Siege of Lothal, and that 2-part, and just to watch him interacting with Vader and having that smirk and, like you said, just evil and just, oh man, and he's kind of looking at Minister Tua and she's just squirming in her skin and scared of Vader, scared of Tarkin, scared of Kallus, and just like you said, to see the character growth and development and change from, standing there with Vader, voiced by James Earl Jones, to standing on Yavin 4 with the beautiful hair, working with the rebels. I mean, what a change. So, like you said, it doesn't usually come for secondary characters like that. So that's another reason why Rebels is just so good. Like I said, I've been going back through a lot of the episodes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are so good. So, yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on what you said there, buddy.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, his journey is, to me, for a secondary character, is more complete than I would say any other character we've seen in the saga. Because he has that, he has that full redemption story rolled up in his story, and we see that journey. We see the darkness. We see the evil. We see the bad in him from the get-go, and then we see the good in him toward the end. I mean, it just that whole journey is just awesome. I mean, I love Kallus. I mean, he just, and the depth of the character is so complex, and it's just
well done. Yeah, it's so well done.
So well done, so well written, so well animated, and so well performed. David Aiello as the voice of Kallus blew me away. He just had an emotional depth for the character that just was incredible.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, when you and I have covered so many different animated series, but I just feel like, when Filoni and crew, when they pick some of these voices, I don't know what it is. Like I said, as I go back and I watch these episodes from, 2015, 16, 17, and 18, I listened to his voice as Kallus, and I'm like, why is that so perfect? That is so perfect, versus going, it doesn't fit. That never fit. No, it's his voice is like, even that first, Spark of Rebellion Part 1 and Part 2, when he looks at Kanan, point your fire at the Jedi. He just is so good. So good. Yeah.
I still get chills watching that scene.
Oh.
It says something, and it says something when you can watch the same scene over and over and over and over, and it still gives you chills.
Yeah.
There's not a lot out there that gets made that you can say has that effect. I mean, it happens. You watch it, you get that effect, and all of a sudden when you watch it again, you expect it. And you're like, okay, well, that's still a great scene. It just doesn't affect me like it did the first time. Everybody, like the movie The Sixth Sense. Oh my gosh, my movie blew me away the first time I saw it. And then I go back to it and I'm like, yeah, this was a great movie, but why didn't I see it coming with all these clues? Blah, blah, blah. And it never had the same effect the second time. But there are scenes in Rebels, and there are very few of these scenes, not just in Rebels, but in not just in Star Wars, but in entertainment period, that you can just constantly get those warm fuzzies every time you see it. And that's one of those scenes when he's standing there and he's saying, focus all your fire on thee, and all of a sudden it gets quiet as the lightsaber comes on. The Jedi. Chilling. The other one, another one from Rebels would be when Kanan dies. You talk about ripping. I was talking to somebody online, talking to somebody about it the other day, and I'm like, that's just one scene that it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, it just rips your guts out. It just rips your guts out. I mean, you just, I'm tearing up now talking about it. I mean,
you and I covering it for Rebels Reactions, and Oh my gosh, tearing up, choking up, and just trying to, like I said, we also talked about, Chopper's little arm coming up and holding on to Hera's.
Oh.
Gosh, destroyed us. Whatever, Dave Filoni. Yeah, go ahead and do all the tear jerking and, make us cry, So.
Yeah. I had a few choice words for him after that just weren't airworthy, but
That's right, yeah.
Get me.
That's
But
it.
anyhow, back to Kallus. Kallus is just Kallus's journey is just it's hard. It's one of those things you just want to say he's got the perfect Star Wars character journey.
Well, I've been holding back. I was going to say something. When you think about, say, John Boyega as Finn, or even I think of Oscar Isaac as Poe, it just kind of, both actors, I mean, John Boyega in particular, everyone was like, was there any character development for Finn over 3 movies? Kallus had a better character arc than Finn in 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it out there. I can't make an argument against that. Rose Tico, and for her, a lot of fans talk about, after Last Jedi, what did she have in, The Rise of Skywalker?
Mm-hmm.
It just. So, anyways, I don't even know that that's controversial. I don't know that anybody could make an argument that. I don't think John Boyega would make an argument that his character had a great amount of growth and character development over the course of those 3 sequel movies.
Well, I'll even take it a step further because, there are those that like the sequels and those that don't, but I'll take it, and I agree with you on everything you said, but I'll even take it a step further is I think Agent Kallus had a better, when you look at his character and some of the other characters throughout the entire saga, you see better character development in him than you do a lot of your primary characters and secondary characters throughout the saga. He definitely had a better character growth than I would say, let's just go through that. I would say he had better character growth than Leia. I would say he had better character growth than Chewie. He definitely had better character growth than 3PO and R2.
Yeah, they're stalwarts.
I would even say he had a better character arc and story than Han Solo.
I was wondering if you're going to say it because Han is generally who he is, changes a little bit in Empire into Jedi, but yeah, I think Luke is the one who has the main.
Even factoring in the standalone film, I would say he had a better growth than Han.
I think that's a solid argument.
It's my opinion. There'll be people out there disagree with me. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I respect it, but this is my opinion. I mean, when you look at the overall depth of the story, depth of the characters, and so forth, he's got one. I mean, next to what I would say Obi-Wan or Anakin / Vader or Luke, I would say he has probably one of the most in-depth story arcs, character growths out there.
Yeah, and told over 4 seasons as I'm watching this, and it's not rushed, and it's laid out, and boy, oh boy, and they were able to, Filoni and company were able to get the time to start it and finish it. Yeah,
absolutely. So, anyhow, let's continue on with Agent Kallus. So, I gotta know, David, what's your favorite moment for Kallus?
Yeah, there was a lot. Again, I've been going back watching Rebels anyways, even before, we were, deciding to do this character. So I've been watching these and seeing him in a bunch of different episodes, but I think, again, mine is probably his funniest moment. So my favorite moment is probably his funniest moment where he says, Carabas, what does that even mean? And that's and of course the classic one, season 2, episode 17, the honorable ones, right?
Yep.
And it, of course, it really lends credence to Aaron and I using it basically almost every episode. We're saying Carabast with our mix-ups. But I just, watching that the other day, I just got a kick out of hearing Kallus say it.
I don't blame it. It is one of my favorite episodes of Rebels. Is honorable ones, and it's actually where my favorite moment comes from. But it's actually later than the one you did, and it's actually Kallus's last scene in the episode. After he sits there and they make their escape, he sits there and watches Zeb joined by the ghost crew as he goes walking up, as they came back to rescue him because they got the signal first. He watches from a distance as they all come out, and they're hugging on him and welcoming him back and happy to see him. And then it cuts to him being on back at an Imperial base or on a shore. It doesn't really say where he is, but he's back with the Empire. We don't know if he's on a Star Destroyer, if he's on a base. We really don't know. But he's back, and comes through a hall, comes through a door, and bumps into Constantine, Admiral Constantine.
Mm-hmm.
And Constantine's like, "Oh, Kallus, you're back," and just kind of walks on. That's it. Very cold, very matter of fact, very uncaring. And Kallus continues on, just limping down the hall, goes into his room, which is very plain, very gray, as you would expect for an Imperial officer. And he sits down, and he has that rock that they use to stay warm.
Mm-hmm.
And he sets it down next to his bed, and he's looking at it. And that's when you can see that scene there, is when you see that switch flip. And the questioning of everything he knows is happening at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what triggers the switch of sides for him.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is, there's once Constantine walks away, there's not a word spoken in the rest of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
It is all done through animation, through the expression, through the music. And to me, it's probably one of the more powerful scenes in his story arc, because you see and you can feel, and you honestly, you almost, I know, and I did, I hurt for him.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, oh God, I love it.
Oh, well said. Well said.
I absolutely love it. So of course, and we've been talking a lot. So we've actually been talking probably more about this next question than as we've gone through these others that we look at. But this one is, why is Kallus an important character in Star Wars? And I think it, like I've said before, for me, is that it continues the path of redemption that we see portrayed time and time again through the saga. And I love the fact that his journey shows that no matter how long it's been or how bad you have been, it's not too late to change your path.
Mm.
It's not too late to do what's right. Every time the rebel is, and also, I like the character because he displayed growth through his failures. Every time the rebel slept through his fingers, he learned something which made it that much more difficult for them to get away the next time around.
Mm.
Every time he got knocked down, he got right back up again. And I could sing a song, but I'm not going to, because, I want y'all to keep listening. He gets knocked down and he gets up again. They're never going to keep him down. But, it's one of those things that he learned and he moved on. And he got better because of it. It made him a better agent. His failures made him a better agent, and eventually it led to him being a better person. And I think that's why
this character is so important to Star Wars is because it's a character that continues to teach not only that you can be redeemed, but you can change and you can make the world a better place by making those changes. That's why I feel he's important.
Yeah.
How about you, Dave?
Yeah, well, I really love that we have this. This is a consistent question that we have in our character profiles. Why is this character important in Star Wars? And Aaron and I have done it with all of these secondary characters. And so I really like this question for all of them, and particularly for Kallus, because I'll just piggyback off what Aaron said, because, Aaron and I have consistently talked about redemption, and many Star Wars fans have. Aaron and I aren't the only ones. But we talk about how it's at the core of Star Wars. Aaron, talked about it with Anakin and that character arc a few minutes ago, but it's perhaps, most poignantly shown in the redemption of Darth Vader. We see it with Kylo Ren as well in The Rise of Skywalker, but not as well as we see with Vader, starting with, episode 1 and coming through episode 6. To see it's interesting too, as Aaron and I have talked here, to see redemption play out in an Imperial officer compared to, like, say, Force users like Vader and Ren. It isn't seen a whole lot in Star Wars, but it's very welcome. I really enjoyed that. And, Kallus changes for the better, and he does risk his life to ultimately help others. I was watching a few of those episodes as well, where, man, Thrawn and Yularen are trying to figure this out, and they're hot on his trail. But, when you think about risking your life and ultimately helping others, that's incredibly admirable. We think about all of our veterans who do that. But it's so needed in our culture and around the world right now. And it is the opposite of psychopathy, right? That not caring about others, you never risk your life for others or ultimately help others. And I point that out because this, flows nicely into my psychology corner, which will be coming up here in a minute or so. But Kallus shows the opposite of psychopathy.
Very good. Very good. Very well. I can't wait to hear that psychology corner. But for now, we want to know what you think of Agent Kallus. You can definitely let us know. Hit us up on any of our social media. We are at SW Reactions on Facebook, on Instagram and Pinterest, or SW Reactions Pod on Twitter. Or you can email us, show@StarWarsReactions.com. But we would love to hear what you think of Agent Kallus, and answer some of the questions that we presented. Tell us what your favorite Kallus moment is. Tell us what your thoughts on the character are, and why you think he is an important character. Let us know if you agree, disagree. We'd love to hear from you, and let us know. So, all right, David. Let's jump into that psychology corner. I've been looking forward to this.
Absolutely, brother. Well, as our listeners know, that in a previous episode, it wasn't last one, because last episode, Aaron and I, we had Greg on for a chat, and prior to that, we did a vintage reactions, and we talked about behaviorism, basically rewarding good behavior, consequencing poor behavior. But prior to that, I was talking about psychopathy or sociopathy, right? And in that previous episode, I covered a lot of different information related to it, but I also teased that I would possibly cover the treatment of psychopathy in adults. I just didn't know if it would work out. But when Aaron, when we got together and talked about which, secondary character we'd do a profile on, I thought, with Kallus, it would fit perfectly, particularly, seeing his transformation from, an Imperial ISB agent to rebel spy, and really later a rebel soldier leader. So I thought it would make make a good timing and really kind of finish up my coverage of psychopathy. But I want to do this before sharing the research on treatments for adults suffering with psychopathy. I wanted to share an insight from C.S. Lewis, and I believe I didn't take the time tonight, Aaron, to look, but I believe I might have covered this when I was talking about either parenting during season 2 of our coverage of The Mandalorian, season 2 of The Mandalorian. I'd have to look, but it bears repeating. Okay. And it really fits with Kallus, and it really fits with, psychopathy and stuff like this. And here's what it is. C.S. Lewis says that a partially bad person, partially bad man or woman, can see the good and bad in themselves. A fully bad person cannot. They don't have that insight. And that can pave the way to hurt others and then to look at others and say, well, what's your problem? What are you upset about? Right? That's Putin, right? And that's why back in March, I thought, let me cover psychopathy, particularly, with Putin's decision to invade the Ukraine, at the end of February, going into March. We're now in April. But so this is how dictators see the world. They're psychopaths, they're sociopaths. He's being called a war criminal. He is, just like Hitler was. But dictators will say, why are you upset with me? What I'm doing is fine. And clearly it's not to the rest of us, right? So there you go. Going back to the March, I've referenced this before in some of our previous podcasts. This again is April 2022, but the March 2022 Monitor on Psychology, that is a journal I get as a member of the American Psychological Association, had this great article titled, quote, "A Broader View of Psychopathy," unquote. And, in it we can learn more about treatments that try to address psychopathy in adults. So in that article, it said treatments for adults are not easy. And overall, they truly haven't been very successful, but they're getting there. Psychologist David Bernstein, he's in the Netherlands. He's had some promising results with schema therapy, okay? And this is the kind of therapy which focuses on unmet emotional needs in people, attachment issues, and moderating extreme emotional states, okay? Those are all key areas that you have to hit in psychopathy. And so Dr. Bernstein and his colleagues looked at 103 violent inmates there in the Netherlands, okay, with personality disorders, including psychopathy. And those inmates who participated in 3 years of treatment, usual treatment, and then there's the schema focus therapy, right? The usual treatment is used as basically a control, okay? But all of them showed significant improvements in symptoms. But those who had the schema focus therapy showed better results. And that's a good thing. That's nice to see certain focus types of treatments with more significant improvements than maybe a standard treatment. So that's a nice path to start on. Again, research is tough. I've done it. It's time consuming. It's difficult. It involves humans. It's difficult stuff. And this kind of research, these are with some of the most difficult persons on the planet. So there are some promising results. And so I wanted to share that. Again, I would encourage people to go back to that. They can go to apa.org. I've mentioned this, and they can go and see that March 2022 Monitor on Psychology article called "A Broader View of Psychopathy." I would also say this. Please listen to Aaron and I and our podcast first, but I would also recommend there's a podcast that it's the flagship podcast for the American Psychological Association. It's called Speaking of Psychology. I've mentioned it before, but the March 16th, 2022 one features Dr. Abigail Marsh, and she's one of those persons out there who is an actual expert in psychopathy. And she's really well spoken in the podcast. Of course, she's in the article as well. They put down some of her thoughts in there as well. So again, if you want to go further in that, people can do that. But I want to make sure I credit those persons and the hard work they did. But that'll wrap up my coverage of psychopathy. I'll take a look here as Aaron and I move forward and look at some other subjects to cover, and I'll keep working to help all of our listeners become better psychologists.
Very good. Very good. Well done. I love your psychology corners. You always learn something valuable, and I love how they tie into what we cover as well. So thank you so much, David. And if somebody has any questions about the Psychology Corner or want to talk to you about Star Wars in general, how would they go about talking to you about that?
Absolutely. 3 ways. First and foremost is Twitter. That's at David_Modders, Modders. There's Instagram, just simply put in David Modders. Or for a longer form, Aaron and I have said this many times, there are the email addresses. Mine is david@starwarsreactions.com.
Very good. Very good. And of course, if you want to talk with me and tell me how much better Han Solo's story is versus Kallus's growth, we can discuss that, or you can just discuss Star Wars with me in general. Best place to do that is on Twitter at TAHarris121079, or of course you can always email me, Aaron, at starwarsreactions.com, and we look forward to hearing from you. So, all right, David, you know what time it is?
Oh boy, I'm sorry, listeners.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Dude, I need some of that. Need some of that 90s basketball energy. Was it Jock Jams? I need to find those. That's right. It's time for the dad joke of the week. So, since here, of course, if you are listening from around the world, it may be different for you, but here in the United States, it is tax season. And I figured, what would be more appropriate than a Star Wars dad joke about taxes? So here we are with this week's dad joke of the week. How do Tusken Raiders cheat on their taxes?
I don't know. How do Tusken Raiders cheat on their taxes?
They always file single to hide their numbers.
Oh my. Oh.
So many accountants right now are going, oh God. Oh, and you think this one's bad? I already found my one for next week, and it is a doozy. So you ain't seen nothing yet. So yes, I love this one. So enjoy. It was fun. Oh Lord, what a great day. What a great day. David, my friend, I had a blast.
Me too, buddy. Always great to record with you. So thankful we can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we want to thank everyone for listening in. We appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are the greatest. We love y'all. We pray for y'all. Wish y'all the best. Be kind. Love one another. Make the world a better place. We will catch up with you next time. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.